What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports Thanksgiving Day Show. It's Mangone, it's Rubio, and it's JBC. So JBC is having some technical difficulties. Just to give you guys a little update. I don't know if we can hear him for sure yet. So JBC, can you try and talk? Are you here?
That should be good.
All right. JBC says he's good, so we're ready to roll. So we couldn't hear him before, but now we could hear him and he couldn't hear us. So it was a whole mess, but we're good to go now. Rubio, I'm going to go over to you. Kick it off for us while JVC gets settled in a little bit more as we get him into the show. But I know some people are looking for Big T and his Thanksgiving Day takes. He already had a show. He had it yesterday, the Print Factory show. But we're here to bring you the winners this morning. Rubio, how are you doing with your Red Bull in hand, ready to go?
Yeah, if I didn't have this Red Bull in my hand, Blackout Wednesday would have been even worse for this morning. So I'm just glad to get out there, stayed up till 4 a.m. last night, but, wanting to provide some winners at 10 a.m. You know how it is, man. We don't want to take a day off. There's too much money to be made here. The contests have filled up 3-4 hours before lock. It's absurd. I think the amount of demand for Turkey Day football is absolutely absurd. So I'm excited. I'm excited to dive into the slate. I can't wait to stack up the Cowboys too. It's a lovely Thanksgiving tradition.
Yes, and when we basically were talking about doing a Thanksgiving slate, JSU said, "Oh, should we do one?" I said, "I'm not doing anything." Yeah, of course we should do one. We got tons of viewers last year. We got tons of you in here. No one wants to hang out with grandma and watch the Thanksgiving Day parade. That just doesn't sound like a good time. So I'm out on that.
I don't have any grandmas anymore. Shit.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Does your wife do that now? Well, I guess you're not. You're not as old as everyone thinks, I should say, right?
Right.
Watching that.
Yeah, my mom and dad are in here. My wife's in there cooking, so everybody's getting ready.
Nice. Everyone's getting ready, having a good day. Tons of football to watch, tons of showdown slates to grind as well. We have all the content for you over here at Run Pure Sports, so be sure to check all that out. We have a code for you guys. It's Giblets44. Gets you 44% off your first payment, either monthly, weekly, whatever you want. Not only that, we got a football game tomorrow with some showdown content. Rubio, how about this? Go through the showdown schedule for the people today. I believe we got a bunch of playbooks, but let people know what's going on.
Yeah, so, if you're interested in playing Showdown, we got all three slates covered. We got cores. We got a full playbook for each game. Like the Detroit Lions and Green Bay Packers is up, and you're wondering why. Tucker Kraft is in JSU's core, whether it's main slate or not. Luke Musgrave is out. We literally get all the value that we want tonight, and a big reason for that is Tucker Kraft, and you can do it on Showdown as well. You got the Cowboys and Commanders. Kurt does his playbook at 6 a.m., and he's already done with his. And then we have the night game, which is your typical Thursday night football game of the 49ers and Seahawks, and we already have cores up from JSU, Bryce, and the whole gang, so it's gonna be a good time. When you have more slates, you get more money to be made. That's the way to look at it.
Yeah, we got college football tomorrow as well, and Saturday we got tons of bets from JBC as well. I wouldn't be shocked if Kurt's grinding a EuroLeague playbook somewhere. I just wouldn't surprise me at all. So tons of stuff going on there.
Kurt's a psychopath, man. Fuck.
Yeah, he is.
Speaking of college football, we do have Ole Miss tonight.
That is true. Ole Miss is tonight. That is a fun game. I always forget about that one. So Bruce will be grinding that content as well, so be sure to check that out. JBC, I'll go to you for a little slate overview. So, I think when it comes to Thanksgiving slates, they're normally pretty gross, right? Because the Lions are typically not a great team. You got the Cowboys who have, they're way better than they've been in the past, but it just felt like pretty gross slates when it comes to having Cowboys and Lions on it a ton, and you just never know what the roulette wheel's going to throw at you with some of these other teams. On this showdown slate specifically, one thing for sure is you got CeeDee Lamb to pay for at receiver, right? You got Christian McCaffrey to spend for a running back. You got the Dak Prescott, onslaughts you can do, and you have a value tight end. You have Charbonnet as a value running back. You have everything you want on a slate. So how on earth am I going to be able to be different, but also play the good plays as well, JVC?
Well, I think just purely because I think there's going to be a lot of scoring today. As far as getting different, you can play Dak, you can play Goff, you can play Purdy, you can play fucking Geno Smith. You can play, you can even go down and play McLaurin and some of those guys. I think every team's going to score today other than the Green Bay, who sucks. But, had to sneak that one in there for you.
They do suck. I'm on board. I'm not a homer like this. I need Jordan Love gone. I need to make sure we get off of him soon. Continue.
Yeah, I think all these games are going to have a lot of points, and I don't think the ownership will probably kind of consolidate around Dallas, but I'm not sure that that's the best idea even, you know. Detroit or San Francisco could easily score more points than Dallas.
Yeah, I'm with you. And when I was kind of building out the teams, right, like you start to like plug in plays naturally, Rubio, right? And so when I started plugging them in, right, you put Dak in first, right? Then you go to McCaffrey. Then you go to CeeDee Lamb. You look at tight end, you go, oh, you know, Jake Ferguson's fine. You could go Kraft as a punt, but like, damn, I want George Kittle, right? That could help separate me. I want the Cowboys defense, and I'm just broke as anything now, right? That's the so you do have some decisions that have to be made. So Rubio, give me kind of your slate overview on how you're handling this slate with all these great spend up options.
Yeah, I think JBC is exactly right. You know, you got 3 teams with super high totals, and basically they're all 7 points or more favorites. I mean, the Cowboys being 12.5 or 12 at this point. I just, you know, I want to attack the secondary of Washington, right? And I think 1 to 2 pieces from there, but it doesn't mean you have to full stack if we want to get a little bit different from the field, because Dak, rightfully so, will be the highest owned quarterback. You know, we have soft pricing too, which allows people to get it in. But, you know, we don't forget, we still have CMC. We still get this Lions team in a nut rushing spot too. If you look at the flow chart on site, you know, I always love it. What was the nut this week? It was the, oh God, what did he say? The deviled eggs was the worst and stuff. But
yeah, I didn't like his hate on deviled eggs, man. I'm a big deviled eggs guy.
You're a deviled eggs guy?
Oh yeah, no, deviled eggs suck.
I'm from Georgia, baby.
No,
I love that shit.
Is that like a Southern thing? Yeah,
it's a Southern thing. At least I think it is.
Okay, I didn't know if it was. I know deviled eggs I just literally never, ever in my life liked. So it sounds like you're outnumbered here on that one.
There are all kinds of ways to make them. You might just not like the specific way they've been made for you, Mango.
Yeah, I saw Rubio, Gary. I saw Gary put he put that like he liked them with like jalapenos or something weird. Yeah. I don't know. There was some abnormal thing, and I was just like, I'm out on that. It doesn't make sense to me. But would I try it again? I mean, I haven't had a deviled egg probably since I was a kid. So would I give it a shot if someone gave me a unique kind of one? Maybe, but not excited about them.
Wait, Rubio, real quick, what's your take on ham on Thanksgiving? He put ham as elite. That's not a Thanksgiving food. That's a Christmas food.
I have a giant ass fucking ham in the fridge right now.
You gotta be kidding me.
So
you gotta have both, dude. Both.
To be fair, it's both. Like the chalk is turkey, but like ham is involved, right? For sure.
You have to have multiple types of meat on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair. Turkey can be dry sometimes.
I'm not a big like turkey person. I prefer to have stuffing. Stuffing is the best. And the best is my one friend's mom used to make this for the next day. She'd take all the stuffing and the turkey left over, and she'd make like a turkey hash where she puts it all together, toss it in a bunch of butter, and it's like incredible. So it's very good. I'm always a big stuffing fan, but I don't know. I don't even know what I'm eating today because I'm doing Thanksgiving with myself, and I'm not making a whole.
Oh wow,
that's a lot of microwave meals, baby.
Yeah, I'll probably make. I might hit a drive-through. Who knows what's gonna happen?
This dude that's closed. Bullshit. You can't.
No. The McDonald's is definitely
probably has fucking stuffing today. You know, you never know.
Yeah, I don't know, but we'll see. I'll worry about food later. You know, worst case, I'll make some mac and cheese and call it a day. You know, as Big T says,
that is also true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's reliable as Big T has it here. So I could also hit the 7-Eleven and get like a nice little hot dog there. You know, right? That's another option as well.
I want to be on the show. You said that you want McDonald's on Thanksgiving. That is the most un-American shit.
I didn't say I wanted it, Rubio.
McDonald's is very American.
The idea of not celebrating with family and friends. You're going to a fast food restaurant.
He doesn't have friends.
Yeah, I have no friends and family, Rubio. I'm stuck in Colorado by myself. I did have some friends, Rubio. Like they were like, "What are you doing for Thanksgiving?" And like I shut down the like even chance to invite me. I don't want to go to Big T's. Big T's like 50 minutes away. Big T, I don't want an invite. I want to watch football all day. That's what we're here to do.
You go hang out with Holden.
No, Holden's in Scottsdale. So we tried to do lunch with Holden and DC and Big T yesterday, and Holden's in Scottsdale, so I can't even hang out with Holden.
Wait, Tony's in Colorado. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, I got lunch with him in DC yesterday. So he's in Colorado. And
man, I'm surprised he gave you the time of day. They usually big times people.
Yeah, no, not for lunch though. Big T's a huge lunch guy. So anything.
Phillies?
No, we did a random pizza place that he liked. I don't know. I mean, it was fine. It was I'm used to New Jersey, New York pizza, so I try not to shit on any other pizza too much because it's just not good. So, but it got the job done. Tons of meat on it. You can't complain. So good time. But let's dive in and talk about this slate more. Let's go game. We're gonna go game by game. And this first game is super interesting because if you just think of matchups, right? I'm a Packers fan. I've been saying this on shows like the past 3-4 weeks. I've been alive for 32 years, and the Packers have been trash against the run for 32 years, right? Like they are always horrible, and they are running into a great offensive line. They're running into a double-headed running back situation with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. I know Tony said on one of the shows he wants to make a rule of at least one possibly, which I don't think you need to do, but you are going to get a ton of them. But there's other good running backs on this slate as well. Also, if people are not going to play these running backs as much, are they going to play Jared Goff? I mean, I think Jared Goff kind of gets squeezed, and I think a lot of these lines are getting squeezed because of their price tags in general. So Jared Goff definitely going to be someone that I think is interesting in tournaments. So JBC, I want to get your thoughts on this overall Lions offense, and then talk about the Packers, because we talk about this all the time in the DFS streets. Cheap wide receiver chalk is some of the worst chalk you can find in general. And the Packers are a ton of cheap wide receiver chalk today. People want to go to Jaden Reed. They want to go to Christian Watson, who's just too cheap. And they want to go to, of course, the cheap tight end chalk. That is this dude named Tucker Kraft, who we've never really seen play that much football. So break down this game, JBC, because I think there's a lot to talk about on the Lions side. And there's a lot of chalky or cheap options on the Packers that I don't know if we should play or not.
Well, I mean, A.J. Dillon, I think we don't have his status yet, but I assume he's going to play. I think everybody's going to go to Charbonnet on Seattle at roughly the same price, and A.J. Dillon is going to get squeezed a lot, like you said. So I don't mind A.J. Dillon today. Everybody fucking hates A.J. Dillon. I think A.J. Dillon's a pretty good play. Christian Watson is popping a ton for me. You know, obviously, number one wide receiver team's going to be losing. At least, you know, you think they're going to have a losing game script. They got to be throwing. Same reason that Kraft's going to be in everybody's lineup. I think the Packers are going to get killed, but I also think they're going to be throwing a lot. You get a lot of dump off points. They're cheap. You know, I don't mind them probably as much as the next guy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Packers, I don't know what to do with them. I want to kind of be a little cautious with them, but to be fair, they are going to be trailing. Game is in a dome. One thing you could argue too, and I think I saw this, was I think this is the highest total the Packers have played in so far this season, which that is obviously something that's encouraging. Yes, it's partially because of the Lions side of the ball, but Jordan Love in tournaments, it's not crazy. I think you can get away with it for sure. Rubio, how about you break it down for me? Because I'm very curious to hear where you want to go on this slate. You were telling me, man, you should host this show because I got a lot to say. So Rubio, I'm ready to take my notes and listen to what you got to say.
Yeah, I mean, specifically on the Showdown format too, I think a lot of 3-3s are viable. And I think the biggest reason being is that you could have the Lions split these carries up evenly and they could run the ball 35, 40 times. I would not shock me. Obviously, that's a high-end projection or whatever, but you might have David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs just absolutely dog walk this defense down the field for 5-6 yards at a time. Campbell might not really want to throw the ball all that often and stuff. And ultimately, this game might have a little fewer possessions. But like you guys said, high total. 47.5 for a Packers game is pretty high. You looked at the Chargers last week, too. How many touchdowns did they drop? You had Quentin Johnson drop a big deep ball. You had Keenan Allen drop 2 touchdowns last week that ended up being resulted in field goals. I genuinely think that these, this Green Bay Packers defense, we could get leverage going on a guy like Sam Laporta or something like that off Tucker Kraft. You can get a nice pivot there. But the thing with Kraft, I mean, they have no other bodies. I mean, who was the guy? It was DeGuara, who was getting a lot of snaps when Musgrave was healthy. And those DeGuara snaps have completely dwindled. It's clearly Tucker Kraft as the tight end, the sole tight end in that room that's able to catch balls. And I mean, when you get a value like this, man, Gunn, it's just tough to pass on, especially, when you have CMC on the slate, you get CeeDee Lamb, and it just allows me to feel very comfortable. I'm just going to eat the Tucker Kraft chalk today on both slates. And ultimately, you could do some double tight end stuff with Sam Laporta or something like that if you really want it to be funky. But just jamming in these David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, and then A.J. Dillon too. We always talk about how, we always hate A.J. Dillon. It's an ass cheek spot. What is it? The Granny's deviled eggs, right? But ultimately, 4 catches, 30 yards, and 1 touchdown. That's exactly what he did last week. I don't know if he scored last week. That is 13 fantasy points. That is more than serviceable here. That's not even including the rushing yards or anything like that. If they're trailing, he played 56 snaps last week, right? And I think Emmanuel Wilson played 6 and Aaron Jones played 15. We're going to see Patrick Taylor kind of split in just a bit, but it's not going to be a lot. AJ Dillon is the sole horse in this backfield. Well, I mean, you gotta love it. I mean, it's cheap. It's super cheap.
To be fair to Rubio, AJ Dillon, he got that work early in the game. I remember watching that game, and it wasn't because Aaron Jones was out and they were like trailing and they needed to just throw to him. Like, he got that volume early, and as someone who had some Aaron Jones a little bit, I was like, why is he getting used in the pass game as much as he is? I was definitely getting frustrated by that a little bit, but I do think that overall this is a good game to go to. Here's a good question. 2 tight ends. Do you think that's unique today, JBC? Is that a route you would want to look to go to in tournaments?
That's chalk. I think that's chalk.
I agree. I think it's chalkier for sure. I think people are just kind of doing that because they have the Tucker Kraft value. I think a lot of people will play a lot of Ferguson and Lamb with their DAX stacks, and people like the idea of getting George Kittle in there. I mean, George Kittle's cheaper than Brandon Ayuk, and I believe a little bit cheaper too than Deebo Samuel. So I think you're correct about that.
And we keep talking about Tucker Kraft, and the problem with Tucker Kraft at 2,500 is that, especially on DraftKings, Jake Ferguson's 3,900. Jake Ferguson is a better play than Tucker Kraft, and everybody's going to play Tucker Kraft. So it's like, is everybody just going to play Jake Ferguson and Tucker Kraft? Yes. So double tight end, I think it's chalk today, and I don't think that you're getting different whatsoever by playing double tight end.
Yeah, and if you're playing double tight end, you're playing double tight end so you can play Christian McCaffrey, so you can play CeeDee Lamb, so you can play Dak Prescott, Cowboys defense, and at the end of the day, then you all have the same team. Not saying you can't play these good plays, but we have to think a little bit about how we play them, right? Like, if you want to play a double tight end, well, if you play George Kittle and Logan Thomas, that would instantly be different with your double tight end for sure, and maybe give you a little bit of a different construction. So those are things that I always like to think about and I talk about. I'm not saying you can't play chalk, right? We can play chalk, but we definitely have to think about how we play them for sure. Like AJ Dillon. I think AJ Dillon's going to get squeezed a little bit more on this slate. And I think some plays in this game are going to get squeezed. Rubio, let me ask you this. You got to pick Jahmyr Gibbs or David Montgomery. Do you have a take on how you're handling that? And can I play both? Is that something you think is possible on this slate?
I really wanted to play both. At the end of the day, you have CMC here. I think in tournaments, it's fine, especially if you just have no other exposure to this game and, maybe a run back from Green Bay or two. Ultimately, though, I don't want to do it. I mean, I think we saw, what was it, 2 weeks ago, where David Montgomery had a 75-yard run and then didn't really do anything much outside of that, right? If he got 100 yards and a touchdown, and Gibbs might get squeezed a bit. And like I said, I do think they can run the ball a ton today, but ultimately I'm going Gibbs over Montgomery just because you get a little more security with the script, right? If they do end up being trailing or they need a 2-minute drill or something like that, Gibbs is going to be getting the passing work. 14 touches for each last game. Obviously, Gibbs is a little bit higher priced. I don't mind Montgomery at all. It's just the fact that pairing them is just overly aggressive, in my opinion. When, like JBC said earlier, you get AJ Dillon, who's going to get squeezed a bit. Who's going to get all the work there in Green Bay. You have CMC. You get Tony Pollard, where I know he's been terrible, but you're going to get workhorses, and I don't really want to spend $6K for 2 running backs that are going to be splitting the same work.
I'm okay with doing it, I think, but we'll see. I want to see what those teams look like, right? I'll go into SaberSim and I'll probably click both the running backs. I'll put the hourglass on it to see how many are together, right? And then kind of go from there. I'm not going to prioritize it, but I want to see. And I think it's possible for sure. You can make the case that one of the reasons that makes it a little bit tougher is the pricing, right? They're just a little more priced up. If these guys were cheaper, I think it could make a little bit more sense too. But Landon's with me. He's kind of thinking about doing it. Put his on there. Yep, Packers can't stop the run. And I am with you on that. JBC, are you going to play both running backs together here in this game?
I'm certainly not going to eliminate it from the pool, but I think the primary issue is that Tony Pollard's a better play than both of them. So, you get a 13.5, 14 spread for Dallas. That's a likely run game script. I know that McCarthy's been just like running up the score on everybody, but, it's the same logic as the past 3 or 4 weeks with Tony Pollard. He's an amazing play today, and I prefer him to Gibbs and Montgomery.
All right, a couple things we'll talk about. One, JVC, can you tell our boy Jack off? Can you tell him, this is a terrible idea? Like, no one cares. No one cares about Purdy in night games, right? That's got to be nothing, correct?
What's your theory? Is Vision's bad? The guy's like 20 years old.
Yeah, I don't think it's a thing. But also, JBC, one last thing I want to ask, because I think this is a good question. Are you fading double tight end today completely?
No, Jake Ferguson's way too good of a play to be fading double tight end. Along with the punt guy for Green Bay, I don't see any reason not to play double tight end. It's just everybody's going to do it.
Yeah, and Tony Pollard gave you AIDS last week. My man, Tony Pollard did work. He got the job done. I
was going to say, Tony Pollard did not give me AIDS last week. Tony Pollard gave me AIDS every other week besides last week.
Correct. Yes, last week was the week. I don't know what you mean by that, then. So I just want to call that out. But I do want to move on to the next game because this is probably the big marquee game of the slate. Typically on Thanksgiving slates, it feels like the first game is because people just want to jam that first game in. They want to attack that Lions defense, game in a dome, right? And just be like, now it's time to eat some turkey and just get drunk for the rest of the day. I don't know if that's the case today. I think this is the game that people are going to want to get the most exposure to because they want to get those Dak Prescott doubles in, right? And you can obviously make an argument that the Washington side of the ball, there's a lot of cheap run back options that you can go to, right? There's Curtis Samuel, there's Thomas. Also, people want to play Cowboys defense, right? Cowboys defense has the ability to definitely separate out the position today. We talk about defense being random at times, and we don't love defense. But at the end of the day, man, we got Sam Howell, who drops back the most in the league, versus a defense that puts up a lot of points. I talk about it a lot. That I want to have, when I pick my defense, I don't want it to be against a team that's just establishing the run all game long. I want to have opportunities to get sacks. I want to get the strip sacks. I want to get the interception. So I think this is a spot you have to love this game. CeeDee Lamb, great spend. You also have a lot of different cheap ones options you can go to on the Cowboys. You can go to Gallup. You can go to Tolbert. You can go to Cooks. Cooks is my favorite option of the cheap receivers. Let's go to you first, Rubio. How about you break this one down? This has got to be a really interesting spot. How are you handling these stacks with the Cowboys today?
I'm a chalk donkey. I'm definitely a chalk donkey when it comes to Dak stacks. I stacked them up in best ball all year, before the season. And now we get the nut spot against the Washington defense. However, I do want to make the mention. I think CeeDee Lamb's great play and stuff. I think the best play in this game is 4.5K Brandon Cooks. I just love Cooks tonight. I just think that his chemistry with Dak Prescott has been building a little bit. He's getting used a lot more. And one guy who's been kind of getting a little bit forgotten about is Michael Gallup, right? So now you have this two-way share of the wide receiver room, in my opinion. When they were trying to force Gallup in over the first 6-7 weeks, in the past 4 weeks, it's been Brandon Cooks getting a lot of work. And I just think he's going to thrive against the secondary. And he's a guy, man, going, you know me and my rainmakers and stuff. I just ended up buying a bunch of Brandon Cooks. If he goes off, I might have a chance. If he doesn't, oh well. But you get a wide receiver 2 at 4,500 in a nut spot. You're going to have others around him, very popular. You talked about Jake Ferguson. Not to say that Brandon Cooks won't be popular or whatever, but I'm taking a stand on Cooks. I genuinely think that he's going to have many opportunities down the field, over the middle of the field or whatever. We've seen CeeDee Lamb get 10 catches and 100 yards every single game, right? The same thing could happen with if the roles even flip just slightly. The scale just tips slightly to Brandon Cooks' favor. I just think he's going to have a huge day. And then it's all the other passing attack, right? I find it hard to, want to fade CeeDee Lamb. Like I just said, how many 10 for 100s has he been producing, right? I want to attack this Washington secondary. However, with the proper leverage in this play, like you just said, JVC, a little bit earlier, Tony Pollard, you get off this chalk wide receivers. Maybe you go one wide receiver 2 if you're wanting to get off the chalk, try and dupe yourself less amongst the field. I'm having a hard time doing it because this Washington team can just easily give up 300, 400 in the air. And it's the fact that it's almost in Mike McCarthy's hands, right? If Mike McCarthy wants to throw the ball in that second half, they're going to put up points. However, if they get up early and McCarthy decides to just do his usual run, pass, punt, it would be maddening, but it's definitely
the last 2 weeks they haven't. The last 2 weeks they've just been running up the score.
I mean, for good reason though. Like it's clear that they just need to lean into their strengths. And to be fair, they are leaning in their strengths a little bit more. It's been since that bye week, and I think sometimes we overlook that. When you start the season off, you have 4 to 5 games or however long their bye weeks are, right? Before their bye week, they can kind of feel out their team, and eventually a lot of teams make a shift, right? And they clearly made their shift in the bye week. I still want to attack this pass game, JBC. Yes, it's going to be chalky, but we need to get exposure to it, I think. I think you have to somehow get exposure to it, whether it's through the receivers, whether it's through doing the quarterback with Dak Prescott as well. How are you going to get exposure to this Cowboys offense and these, Washington run backs?
I can virtually assure you that I'll be under on Dak Prescott because, running my general settings blind without restricting any quarterbacks, it's giving me over half Dak at quarterback, and I'm not doing that shit. So I don't think you need to play Dak. You know, you obviously need to get some exposure to the cheaper options. I don't think you need to play CD. There's a very, you know, if Tony Pollard gets the first touchdown and it starts going downhill, or if it's Schoonmaker or whoever the fuck, you may end up in a situation like we talked about where they just run the ball the entire game. And you talked about the defense being a great play. This is probably the highest floor play of the entire season on defense, because Sam Howell takes 100 sacks and Dallas sacks the quarterback 100 times. So you know they're going to get like 5. So that's, you know, you're banking points right there. And then they could get a pick 6 or something on top. The defense is amazing. It's hard not to rationalize playing everybody, but you got to find ways to cut corners somewhere.
Yeah, you're 100% right. One thing I noticed when I ran my MME stuff, I ran it last night, you know, just like a quick raw run without really changing much. And I put uniques on and cranked them up. And I was like, oh, I still have a ton of the Cowboys defense. Well, there's a reason why, right? That is something that tells you kind of what's going on with the slate. So I want to have a lot of Cowboys defense for sure. JBC, how many uniques are you using on this slate? Is there anything specific you would do?
DraftKings right now, I'm going back and forth between 3 and 4. Haven't totally decided yet. It just, you know, it depends. When I go 3, it gives me like 70% Jake Ferguson, which is, I mean, could be great, but not necessarily what I'm looking for. So I might crank it up a little bit.
Yeah. And also someone said Cowboys defense is plus 160 to score a touchdown, which that is higher than normal.
That cannot be right.
What book is that?
That's his local
JBC. I bet it's right. I'm not even kidding. I think we looked last time for the DeVito game. Me and Bryce, I think it was me and Bryce looked at it when we were on the Cash Show, and I believe it was like plus 175. Also, it's Thanksgiving, where anything that's Cowboys related is overinflated, right? Like anything. So, yeah, not
plus 370 on DK. Plus 370.
That's still really fucking low.
Yeah, is it plus 370? Maybe he's looking at the wrong one. There,
dude. Are they offering the other side? Can I get like minus 500? They don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I just know Cowboys, like anything Cowboys related gets like pounded on Thanksgiving. So thought that was interesting. Here's a question for you. Here's a question for you, Rubio. I want to ask you about this because I know that Washington spreads the ball out a ton, right? Like that's one of the issues there, obviously, because they have the Chiefs coordinator from before. They are kind of like the Chiefs in a way where it's like, I don't know, when you like load up on Chiefs, right? It doesn't normally work out, right? You normally just want like, obviously Kelsey's different, but they spread the ball so much where I was considering like really limiting my Washington exposure because I didn't want to be overexposed. And then now I don't know if I'm going to do it, but I'm curious your take. Is that a good or bad idea? It's a 3-game slate, so it's not a normal slate, so it's a little bit tougher.
Yeah, I mean, I see the comments talking about, oh, Sam Howell this, Sam Howell that. Lucky day, I see you. Sam Howell, he's good. Don't get me wrong. The problem is if you play Sam Howell today, who are you going to play him with, right? That's always the problem with Sam Howell that we talked about. You know, he doesn't really, focus on one guy. He doesn't pepper Terry McLaurin. He doesn't pepper Logan Thomas, whatever, Jahan Dotson, whatever you want to go with. He doesn't just consistently target one guy. He spreads it around to 7 or 8 guys. Perfect for offense, but not great for fantasy, right? And when you're trying to do this, you don't really want to play Sam Howell on this slate when you have 3 huge favorites. You got 2 great quarterbacks in good spots, with Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott. I guess great is very subjective there. But you ultimately don't have a good feel on who you really want to stack Howell with. And if you want to get overly aggressive going against Cowboys defense on a 3-game slate, I'm not going to fault you, but that's not going to be something I do. I don't want to go against this Cowboys defense voluntarily when the Washington defense has been terrible. The Seahawks defense has struggled. And ultimately, I can just pick my parts. I ultimately just want to go one Washington max piece. And that's really aggressive, I know, but you got Antonio Gibson in. You get a slightly priced up Brian Robinson, with the fact that, Antonio Gibson's in. It's frustrating. I don't know which person I would click on, man, going to make a run back. And ultimately, I'm done with the Washington team outside of max of 1 on my teams today.
That's how I felt. And I haven't looked at each lineup individually or looked at the stacks to just double check. Now, JBC, I'll go to you. I know you never want to set any rule in the world, but maybe you can give us an insight on maybe organically you're just not getting a lot of them, right? I just don't know if it's a great idea to load up on them. Like, for instance, if I was playing Dak, I think you can make an argument that people might want to try to overstack it and get those Washington options in. I just don't know if that's the correct idea. I mean, it's a short slate. A lot of people are going to do that. I know short slates, anything can go, but I don't know. I'm curious your thoughts on this.
I mean, I don't mind the overstacks, obviously. I'm playing, 4 guys on Dallas and 3 guys on Washington. Certainly could end up being optimal if they end up scoring a lot. But yeah, I mean, like organically, I'm not really getting a lot of Washington players other than Logan Thomas. Even Logan Thomas, it's really not that much. It's like in the 20s. I am going to artificially boost them just because they throw the ball so much. And what Rubio said is true. Like, it's hard to say who he's going to go to, but at the end of the day, he's got to go to somebody. What do we think they're going to get shut out? Like, no. Like, they throw the ball so much. Somebody on Washington's going to do well. It's just a matter of who it is, and you probably just need to spread it out and hope that it works out.
Yeah, on the flip side too, Rubio, which I haven't like really set the rule in and ran it because I'm scared to, because if I do, I think I'm just going to have a million shitty Packers on my team, right? And I don't know, man. I'm not excited about loading up on all these Packers. I just think I want to be a little cautious for sure. So it's about trying to find that right mix there, Rubio. So what's your thoughts on all that?
Well, I would agree normally, right? But I think these Cowboys are just so underpriced, right? Now here it comes again. Rubio's going to eat the chocolate stack in the Cowboys and stuff. But you get Jalen Tolbert at 3-1. You get Jake Ferguson at 3-9. You get Brandon Cooks at 4-5. These are not expensive options, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're leveraging it with Tony Pollard, yes, I could see maybe, you're going to get a little bit more Packers or whatever. But me, I'm just going overweight on this Cowboys pass game on Rainmakers, on Classic DFS, Showdown, everything, just because it's the nut spot for it. Oh yeah, good.
Why can't we have a conversation? What's wrong with that? Right? I mean, it's an hour-long show. Would you like me just to hop on and say play Christian McCaffrey, Dak Prescott, and I'll say here's the Snyder Soldiers, and we'll see you guys later? Like, I mean, we're
Snyder Soldiers.
I'm gonna play everyone, man. God,
the Snyder Soldiers and the JVC Jihad. We haven't had a battle in a few weeks because golf's off, but we'll be back.
The golf will be fun when we get back to them. That's another thing that we provide here at Run Pure Sports. Again, if you haven't signed up, use that code GIBLETS44. Get you 44% off for monthly or weekly. So that's a nice promo that we're running for the Thanksgiving stuff. And also, guys, if you could hit that like. Right? We have 1,000 watching, almost 1,100 watching, and we have 134 likes. Now that ratio's got to be fixed. Okay, I'm not trying to go out here and simp for some likes, but you guys got to be a little bit better. I'm just going to be honest for sure. So. Rubio, what's your thoughts and finish up what you were saying a little bit?
Yeah, definitely hit the likes. A good ratio is very important for Thanksgiving, even though it's family. But ultimately, I get it. I get it. Just setting one or whatever like that. Yeah, I'm running 25 teams. All right, I'm having a good time. I spent too much money on Rainmakers to fully. I still got to do all my fucking Rainmakers teams. It pisses me off. But ultimately, I'm not going to just rule it out, but if I see a team with more than 2 commanders in it amongst that set, I'm going to look at it very closely. I'm probably going to rule it out. I still run all 5,000 sims or whatever like that. Trust me. I got to make a stand somewhere, and this Washington team is one stand to make. And I know it's chalky, right? But I'm not going to go ahead and sit here and just say, "Oh, I'll play everyone." I want to give people some takes. Come on now.
Yeah, for sure. We got. Someone saying he's down to split it 2,000 ways. I'll split it with you. I split second place in the NBA Showdown with JBC and AP last night, which it wasn't unique, that one with Rashawn Holmes and that guy.
Fucking Lively getting hurt, and the night before with Reddish getting hurt. That shit pissed me off.
It was frustrating because our team should have been first, right? I mean, congrats to the dude who won, right? I mean, awesome to be able to win that.
Darwin Ham pissed me off so much, bro. I was so pissed by that rotation in the game. I knew he was going to ride with it, and it was just the Mavericks were missing open shots. And LeBron got hot from 3, and I knew then, I'm like, he's going to ride this fucking Reeves and Prince lineup with Jackson Hayes all the way to the end. And he tried to do it until he finally got Russell in there with 3 minutes.
Fucking Jackson Hayes, dude.
God, he sucks.
No comment.
Well, it was a good conversation about the Cowboys. Obviously, a great spot. I'm sure you'll see the Cowboys all over Rubio's core. If you want to check out Rubio's core, get on over to Run Pure Sports and sign up and check it out. But let's move on to the last spot and not hating
Rubio. Respect Rubio's hustle. Don't do that.
Yeah, I bought 75 Rainmakers packs, and I just want to cry now because I can't sell any of these.
You bought 75 Rainmakers packs?
Yeah, Wiley bought 100.
I think you guys have a problem.
Well, you know what? It's like slots, and when you open it, you get this really nice
the way his face lit up when he started fucking talking about it.
And Rubio, so, in the first 5 packs, I made money. Like
it's just like Pokemon was when we were 10.
Dude, the first 15 packs, I was up like 3K on like shit. I'm like, dude, I can't stop buying packs now.
Rubio, do you have one not open? Can we rip one live on air? Is this possible?
No, not buying another pack. I've sworn it off now.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to ask because people love the pack rips. I'll say that. I ain't ripping any packs. I'm out on that. So, but I don't need to play any Rainmakers. I'll leave it to you guys. Hopefully, there's a Run Pure logo up top winning $1 million in Rainmakers. It won't be me. Hopefully, it's Rubio, Wiley, or Big T. Hopefully, I'll win the other $1 million. That's what I'm shooting for today. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's JBC or Rubio in that too. Or maybe it's one of you with the nice Run Pure logo up at the top of the leaderboard. So let's keep moving this thing along. Let's go on over to the next game. It's the last game of the slate. It's the Niners and the Seattle Seahawks. And, man, the Seattle Seahawks, they have really been a run funnel this year. And, man, perfect spot for Christian McCaffrey, right? He's involved in the run game, pass game. The floor is so good. It just seems like a perfect spot for them. Also, Seattle's a bit banged up. We don't really know the status of we know DK Metcalf and Lockett are probably playing. We don't know how hurt they really are. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic on the slate. Like Jackson Smith and Jigba as a bit of a value. You got Kittle, Ayuk, Samuel, all interesting options to pair up with Brock Purdy. And then you can even do the Brock Purdy naked stack and win $1 million, right? Someone did it the other day, and there was all the controversy on Twitter, but maybe it's time to run it back. Brock Purdy naked. Rubio, are you going to run back some Brock Purdy naked stacks and get some exposure to the Seattle side of the ball?
I'm never going to doubt anyone. Whoever wins $1 million with naked Brock Purdy on a slate like that, but not on this one for sure. And I do want to mention, we always talk about, is it man or is it zone? The Seahawks play some of the most zone in the entire league. Who does that benefit, man, going?
So my argument is it actually benefits Brandon Ayuk. It doesn't matter because Brandon Ayuk's better than Deebo Samuel. How's that sound?
Nah, fuck you. It's Deebo Samuel week.
I knew that was the answer, but I didn't care because I think those splits are noisy with it, and I think Ayuk's just the guy. And I think
so. You're trying to push a narrative on the people. You're trying to manipulate the media here and say that Brandon Ayuk is better in zone when that's just not the case. Deebo Samuel thrives against zone. Brandon Ayuk thrives against man. Today's a zone spot. You get Deebo Samuel a little on their own. He's way cheaper on Rainmakers. My God, it's Deebo Samuel week, man. Going, I'm trying to manifest it. The turkey's in the oven. I'm underneath.
Rainmaker, dude, you got to stop saying the word Rainmakers.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm too invested at this
moment. Well, while we're there, someone posted a great comment. Rubio, can I interest you in a Anthony Davis Top Shot? Huh?
Yeah, I got 3 moments on Top Shot. Ben Simmons, Ricky Rubio, and then it was that Jonas Valanciunas. That's my three moments on Top Shot.
Nice. I have way too many, and I'm hoping it comes back one day.
I was say one of our employees made himself a fortune on Top Shot. Dan made himself a very rich man off Top Shot.
Oh God.
Gosh, the old Top Shot days. Good times. You were shaking your head, JVC, at Rubio with the Deebo Samuel stuff. Are you on board with me? Ayuk over Samuel, and how are you handling George Kittle? Because George Kittle can separate at the position today, and he has the opportunity to do that. And that's something I'm deciding. Do I play George Kittle in my core, or do I punt the position more? What do you think about these Niners here in this spot?
I've got them all about the same as far as like allocation wise. So much of the offense goes through McCaffrey. As you said, Seattle's been a run funnel. The 49ers, he likes to spread it out. Sometimes it ends up funneling or going all to one guy, but he likes to spread it out. I'm not necessarily sold on either Ayuk or Deebo as being significantly better than the other one from a value standpoint. I think Debo's a lot better at football, if you're asking me that question. But he's been going to Ayuk a ton. I don't really have a strong opinion one way or the other on those 3 guys.
Yeah, my opinion's on Ayuk. I'm going to lean him the rest of the way. We're going to be in the playoffs, and I'm going to pretty much lean Ayuk as long as price is going to matter. But right now, it doesn't matter that much to me, at least in this spot. And I don't know, Rubio, talk about the George Kittle stuff, because I think that's a really big talking point of this slate, because I think a lot of people are playing Jake Ferguson and Tucker Kraft. And then from there, if George Kittle gets, I would argue if he outscores the position by, maybe 8 points, he could separate right then and there. And he could just be on the winner. It depends on how the rest of the slate goes and the values go, but there's a lot of value on the slate. So George Kittle, for me, is someone that I I might put in my core. I haven't totally decided yet. How are you handling him in tournaments, Rubio?
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked that he's projected for similar ownership to Ayuk and Debo. And I guess that goes to what you said, JBC, in terms of like the allocations very similar. And I'm not a Kittle guy. I leave that up to the big man Tony to be the Kittle representation of the entire world. But I get it. He's got upside and stuff. But Purdy looks toward these wide receivers. He looks for McCaffrey a lot. And $6K for Kittle on this slate with similar ownership to these other to Debo and Ayuk, it's just absurd. I get it, but I'm ultimately projecting Debo 2-3 points higher than Kittle, and ultimately that's just going to have me having less Kittle and way more Debo. I even have Debo at the same level as Ayuk too for cheap. I don't mind it, but Debo's my guy today for San Francisco. Kittle can crush some zone if he gets some soft spots, but they're not going to have to throw most likely. And I like Kittle in more competitive games. You know, if Kittle's in a nice game and a playoff game and stuff, we're rifling him up. You know, he's going to be running a lot of routes and stuff. And not to go full Kurt here and, you know, diss Kittle. You know, if we had Kurt here saying he's completely off Kittle, I'd probably be on, because the last time he said that, Kittle scored 3 touchdowns on 3 catches or whatever. So I'm going to get Kurt's opinion before I say anything more on Kittle.
Well, I'll just say this. I'm not going to give away everything. Not going to give away it all. You got to use Giblets 44 to get 44% off, and check out the course if you want. But I'll give one play from Big T, okay? He's got George Kittle in the core. That's all I'm going to say. Got George Kittle in the core. Rubio, I'm just saying. Maybe we get enough likes. Maybe I'll give out a little bit more. Maybe I'll give you a bigger peek behind the curtain of the core plays. But, George Kittle is definitely someone I'm interested in for sure. Does that change your opinion here, Rubio?
No. You know, boss man can be wrong. And I do want to make a bet to you right now, man, going. Okay. Do you like Kittle to outscore Debo or no?
I mean,
pick it up. Say yes. Say yes. Don't.
Well, it's about positions, right? That's like the important.
No, it's not. It's the 2 tight end slate. It's straight up. I want to put money on Kittle.
Positions matter. Yo, I'm sorry, they just do. Like, it's not the same. So can I take Ayuk over Debo?
Are you playing Kittle as your sole tight end then? If you're playing him,
I don't know yet. He's
more expensive than Debo, and a lot of 2 tight ends are going to be popular. I think it's a straight up question. I think Debo is the way better player than Kittle, to be honest.
Okay, but here's a question for you. Can I take Ayuk over Debo? Because it's a great matchup for Debo. It's the Debo spot. Rubio. You should be able to just give me Ayuk. No big deal.
You want to take advantage of Rubio Sportsbook. You want to get these odds and stuff like that. Fuck you, man. Let's put lunch. Let's put 2 lunches on Ayuk versus Debo. I'm not afraid to pick up a bet against you. I'll put my money where my mouth is. Debo is the best play on this 49er side outside of McCaffrey. It's that simple.
I appreciate you going out there like that, so I will agree. I'm going to take Ayuk and Kittle for 2 lunches, so we'll have both the bets going there.
Oh, okay. I like that. Yeah, I like that.
That's what I'm saying. 2 lunches. We do each of them. You have Debo, so if Debo just absolutely destroys, I owe you 2 lunches. Maybe you can find a way to split your way there, but JVC, do you like my odds or do you like Rubio's odds more?
I like Ayuk and Kittle both over Debo.
There we go.
Fuck you, JVC. No.
you love to see it, so it's a good spot for me. JVC, I'll go to you about this one. I saw the chat. They mentioned something about JSN, and we haven't talked enough about the Seattle side of the ball. So let's do that. There was a question. I don't know. I can't find it. Something about JSN. Let's talk about JSN because I like him a lot here. I think JSN is going to be someone that I want to get exposure to. My biggest worry is he hasn't been as active in the red zone, right? His opportunities have not been there for the touchdowns.
Little guy.
Yeah, but to be fair, Lockett and Metcalf are both banged up. And as the season goes on, I want to be on these like younger players that I think are going to boom. And I think it's coming. I'm not going to miss the boat on it. What's your thoughts on JSN and the Seattle pass game? And also Zach Charbonnet, who's going to be a very chalky option. Do you think he's a play or a fade for you?
With Charbonnet?
Yes, Charbonnet.
You know, his props are insane. I think you kind of have to play him. I have him a ton. He's probably going to be my second highest running back behind McCaffrey. Geno, I'm not sold that Geno's arm is completely okay. Also, I'm sure he'll play, but you know they've said he's going to play or whatever the fuck. He's still listed questionable. But you know Charbonnet's props are nuts. Look at what Ken Walker does normally. It's not like Charbonnet's a bad player. He's a second round pick or some shit. I don't see any reason not to play him.
Yeah, no, I think he's a really good play, someone that I'll be getting exposure to. But I don't know, my single entry, I might consider the fade. I haven't, just because of how good running
AJ
back.
Dillon, baby.
Yeah, AJ Dillon is a pivot. And honestly, like, you have a lot of expensive running backs that I would like to get in there, right? If I want to get a Lions running back, I could totally see that. Rubio, I'll go on over to you. Talk about the Seattle side of the ball a little bit more, because you were talking about Debo and all this stuff. And by the way, Big T's on my side. He wants Kittle over Debo. So if you want more lunches, Rubio, here's your opportunity, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I want all the lunches I can eat. I want to eat Chipotle straight for a week and then shit my brains out each day, in peace, knowing it was free. And I also want to mention, too, that I'm in complete agreement with JVC on Charbonnet. Obviously, second-round pick out of UCLA. He was a stud in college. He's finally getting the chance to – you get a fresh running back. This is a Seahawks team. We've had rookie running backs trend always later in the season. Now he gets this opportunity, bubble wrap to him. Obviously, not really bubble wrapped with the 49ers defense when you're going against them, but they're going to want to establish it. Pete Carroll's going to want to get this involved. And, you had a lot of passing game involvement for Trevor now, which is no surprise. I mean, he's able to do that with his hands and stuff. You have a good floor. And this goes with what we had about A.J. Dillon, too, where he just needs to get in the box, and a good play turns into a great play. I don't see why you'd want to avoid that at 5-3. I know the matchup sucks, but you got to, it's suboptimal. Do you want to play 50% of the work with Gibbs and Montgomery, or do you want to play Dusty Pollard, or do you want to go with one of these guys like Zach Charbonnet, with fresh legs and this later in the season? I think I'm going to go Charbonnet.
I don't want to hear this Pollard slander. I don't want to hear that.
Well, I'm someone who's backed in 3 straight weeks. I was very happy to see him score for a nice, huge same-game parlay last week. Yeah, but he's a little dust, just a little dust. But hey, dust doesn't matter when you get the opportunity, so it's fine. But I'm with you. Charbonnet, great. I've not been able to get to Lockett or Metcalf all season. I think that elbow is a very big concern for Geno too. Jackson Smith and Jigba.
It's a tricep, right? Something.
Yeah, something with the play. It looked like the arm or elbow or whatever it was. But you mentioned this on a Showdown show with us early this season. JSN is going to end up just taking this role from Lockett completely, whether it's this season or next season, right? We're having the trend to JSN, playing better of late, getting more, more targets, more routes, everything in between. I just hope that he just decimates these Tyler Lockett players. I cannot believe Lockett 20% and JSN is going to be less owned with 1,900 price difference. I like JSN a lot for tournaments. I mean, he's one of the best wide receivers out of college, and obviously getting hurt, we never really got to see the full potential of a full college season without Garrett Wilson and Olave. But, we're the week 12 now? It's got to be time to utilize your best players, and I think JSN's the best wide receiver on this roster.
Yeah,
I don't know that he's better than DK Metcalf. That's a bit of a stretch.
DK Metcalf is so mid. God, he looks great. He looks great. Don't get me wrong, but dude has been good at football this year. I'll say it.
Yeah, right. Rubio just loves to use the word mid. Trust me, it's like he has like this.
Mid is a bigger insult than saying somebody sucks.
Rubio has to use
that's like, oh god, you're mid.
Rubio has to use the word mid 5 times a day. It's like it is like.
So do I. I say mid like 24/7, but DK Metcalf mid, that is stupid.
I'm just saying, if I got 12 targets a game, I could put up 3 for 34 and 1. Nah.
All right, let's
do you think? So JBC, if I had a 15-yard head start against Tyreek Hill, all right, we had to run to the end zone.
We're gonna lose. If the Atlanta Braves do this during the 7th inning stretch every fucking game.
I'll have you know.
You know what I'm talking about, where the dude runs against the guy and he's just like 1 in 50.
Rubio is literally insane and thinks he can outrun Tyreek Hill. He's nuts.
It's that Red Bull talking, dude.
Yeah,
it's like
not only that, Rubio said last year, like around college football, he was like, Rashid Rice is a terrible receiver. I could do what he's doing in college football. And now
stop. Okay, hold on.
I will say this about Rashid Rice. If I was playing with Patrick Mahomes, fuck, none of these guys can fucking catch. Even Rashid Rice fucking sucks. None of these, that shit pisses me off so bad that none of these boys can catch. How can you not find? They could find a guy off the street that would be better than every single fucker on the Chiefs. Even Travis Kelce's dropping and fumbling the ball. What the fuck are they doing?
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to rant there.
No, I'm with you. It's pretty bad how bad they are right now.
I've seen
I don't
Rashid
get
Rice.
it. I don't get it. How do you make it to the fucking NFL as a wide receiver and you can't catch the ball? And somehow the Chiefs got them all. Kadarius Toney, Valdez Scantling, and Moore are the 3 worst catchers in the league. Like, they can run, but they can't catch the ball when it's thrown right to their chest. I don't understand.
The Valdez Scantling catch was so bad. Like, that one was just like,
okay, but it's raining. You're running down the field. It's like he threw one right to Kelsey, like right here, and he dropped it. Like, what is going on? Is Patrick Mahomes like throwing spin balls?
No, it's Taylor Swift wasn't at the game, JBC. That was the problem.
I mean, I do like that theory. I like it. I like those theories. I mean, I'm more of a, my own pop star girl, not Taylor Swift. But we stand a problematic queen.
I do love the Britney shirt. There's probably like a bunch of 40-year-old women in JVC wearing Britney shirts on Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah.
So that's pretty good for sure. Big T's in the chat. He's very frustrated with you, Rubio, and your awful takes when it comes to the receiving stuff. So there we go. We didn't talk about Geno Smith at all. I guess we could at least ask. Geno has had some okay weeks recently. Can you play Geno Smith as a punt option, JVC, at the quarterback position?
Yeah, I mean, you can. I'm worried about his arm. And the issue there is that Jordan Love is a better play right down there with him and with a lot more rushing upside. And speaking of Jordan Love, talking about the showdown slate and the main slate, I think Jordan Love is very underpriced. I have Jordan Love as being the second best value quarterback on the slate behind Prescott.
Can you play Jordan Love at the captain spot? JSU will be very upset if you say no. So.
I typically do a little. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I will have him. Yeah.
All right, there you go. So JBC is on the quarterback. That was a big debate that Tony and JSU fought about on that one show. So.
Jordan Love runs. That's different. I'm not playing Jared Goff.
Yeah, it's definitely different. No one's playing Goff or Matthew Stafford. Speaking of, I was looking at MVP odds. It's a crime that Matthew Stafford is even listed as an MVP option. It's a crime that anyone's able to click on it and put him in there. I'll at least say that. So
we're talking about dealing with all those shit boys at receiver for so long. Who the fuck is Puka Nacua?
I mean, yeah, it is.
We're all like, oh, Puka Nacua is so fucking good. No, Matthew Stafford's good.
Yeah, I mean, Matthew Stafford's fine. He's not. I mean, the state of quarterback is rough. So
Matthew Stafford won the same amount of fucking Super Bowls as your shit boy Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, settle down over there. If you think Stafford's better than Rodgers, I don't know what to tell you.
No.
You're just
again. But I had to get that in there.
Yeah, it was a good dig. It was a good call, but not. I mean, if you want to embarrass yourself in front of 1,200 people, that's on you. So Pure Chaos says he needs Kevin's takes. Kevin is I don't know. He's got his core up already. It's already up, and honestly,
do you think Kevin is going to be on a Thanksgiving show?
Yeah, Kevin's not a Thanksgiving show. Kevin is running around with the kids in Houston or something, and Kevin scores up, and we like to rib on Kevin a little bit and say sometimes it's a little bit crazy. Kevin's score seems pretty reasonable today. It's an interesting route that he's going. I'm looking at it and I understand what he's doing and I like it. So there you go. Rubio, you said you had a lot to say on this. Is there anything else you want to say on this Niners and Seattle game besides Deebo Samuel's the best play?
Deebo. I love him tonight. I think he's going to absolutely thrive. And I don't really have too much else to say on this game alone. I do want to mention that because of the Michael Mayer first touchdown that we had the other week, I promised that I would do a free roll for a $100 ticket. I'm going to be posting that on my Twitter here in the next 40 minutes or so. Definitely would probably get in on that here. I'm going to post it. First come, first serve. First 200 people get in. If you get first place, you get a $100 ticket.
There you go. $100 ticket if you get in there. So be sure to get into that contest. Now, Rubio is going to be posting. Rubio, why don't you post in the YouTube chat too? That might help as well if you want. Unless you just want people on your Twitter. Is that what you want?
No, I want people to follow me on Twitter at Rubio Dimes and then ultimately win a $100 ticket at the end.
All right. Go follow Rubio Dimes on Twitter. He has some really bad takes when it comes to he's faster than Tyreek Hill. He crushes it in the soccer streets, though. We'll give him that, even though he wears bad soccer clothing all the time.
Look at that. Club soccer, man, going. People say I'm not fast. People will also not notice that this is my fiance's shirt.
Yeah, you would be wearing your fiance shirt. Okay, so let's clear the air. Bobby Boom, K Fallic is not on Torre and Eskridge. Okay, so let's not try and steer the people the wrong direction. They want to see K Fallic's core. They can use that code Giblets44 to get 44% off and check that out. We'll answer a couple questions in the chat and then we'll get on out of here. But we'll give the plays of the day as well. So be sure you're ready with your plays of the day. Mangone, is 3 running backs better than 2 tight ends, or is it a 4 wide receiver day? This is actually a really great question. JVC, I'll go to you on this. I think it's a 4 receiver day. It's either that or 3 running backs. I think that's the lean. I don't think it's the double tight end. I think a lot of people are doing it. I think it's chalkier than it should be. So my lean is 4 wide receiver 1, 3 running back 2, and I think it's closer. And then I just don't want to be as much on the double tight end. I know a lot of people are doing it, and I think in tournaments I'm going to try my best to kind of steer more clear from it. I'll let it organically happen, but I'm not going to just prioritize it, if that makes sense.
Typically, I will straight up not play running back or tight end at flex on DraftKings, but today with so many good value tight ends and running backs, I think you kind of just need to open it up and let it ride. I have no real preference between them. Obviously, normally I would, as I said, I would lean to wide receiver, but today's kind of weird. A lot of running back value, a lot of tight end value. Kind of just let the generator do its thing.
Okay. Another Kevin asked, I don't know if this is a guy related to Kevin because it's a little bit of a crazy question. DJ Dallas punt. So can we clear the air that there's some things you shouldn't do on this slate and DJ Dallas punt is not it? Rubio, you look appalled. What's your thoughts here?
It's a showdown play. I can see it on Showdown. I actually haven't did the playbook for that one yet, but I assume that he's very cheap on Showdown and allows you to fit in the other pieces. But he should get work. I don't think it's out of the question that he gets a few catches today. He might be utilized in the pass game. We've seen it from time to time that he gets utilized in 2-minute drills and stuff. I mean, you could say 6 to 8 touches is very much in the cards if you wanted to do that, but not in the classic slate.
All right. Here's a good question. So it's Hofbra. He's asking, Mango, who are the turd plays? That's how you win the million on the 2 to 3 gamer. So who are the guys we're digging deep for that could just be listen, they could easily get you 0, but they could win you the slate. I mean, that's what we need to dig in for and talk about a little bit. Some of those guys are these Lions receivers, I think, Josh Reynolds and Jameson Williams, I think, are in the conversation for that. We've seen Jameson Williams explode a little bit. They added Donovan People-Jones to that team, but he didn't play a lot. And do you think on a short week, they're just going to increase his volume? No chance, right? I think it's a really good spot for 2 of those receivers. I think getting exposure to them makes a ton of sense with the Lions. Rubio, who is your turd plays you're diving down deep?
The guy I'm diving in for, the gross one, Jalen Tolbert.
3K plays, the 3K.
Jalen Tolbert. Like I said, I like this Cowboys passing attack. He's gotten 5 targets in quite a few games over the past few weeks. It goes in line with Michael Gallup not living up to the contract, right? He was the first one who got all those cracks at being the number 2, number 3 wide receiver in this offense, and it's leaning Tolbert's way just slightly. And I keep mentioning it. I want to attack this Washington secondary, and Tolbert's a guy who allows you to fit mostly everything that you want if you want it to play really chalky too, which I might be doing a little bit too much today.
JVC, how about you? Who are some of the guys you're just diving deep into the mud to today that are kind of gross in that 3K range?
Well, I was going to go the other way. I was going to say Michael Gallup, I think, will be very lightly owned and could very well do what Rubio thinks Tolbert's going to do. That's a coin flip situation. Curtis Samuel is very good play down there at 3,600. Other than that, Curtis Samuel is the one that I would really target.
Yeah, I think he's my favorite Washington option if it's not Thomas. So I'm with you. I'm definitely going to get exposure to him for sure on this slate. And then I believe someone said Wicks got ruled out, so that's news that came by. If that's a matters to you for the Showdown slate, Ruben. Does that change things? Are you updating the Showdown playbook for it?
Malik Heath, I already projected him out. Malik Heath was the 4th wide receiver or 5th wide receiver last week behind Wicks. So he'll step into the wide receiver 4 spot. Tucker Kraft is 1,200. He'll play all the snaps. I'd be shocked if Heath played more than 20 snaps or whatever. But hey, it'll be a pass happy script and stuff, and it'll definitely get you different from the field. I think a lot of people might assume it's Samori Toure, but that it was Heath last week, and I just imagine it's going to be Heath this week.
All right, one last thing, and then we'll get to the plays of the day. It was a Noah Fant thing. What JVC? So, you are definitely someone that spreads it out a little bit, right? Is it spread out enough? Are you getting any Noah Fant?
3%.
There you go, 3%. So, and that, I don't know, that might be even with the field. I think some people will play him, but I don't know. Tight end is, I don't know. It seems like Kittle's going to be my guy. We'll have to see. Not going to be my play of the day, though. I got a different play of the day that I'm going to give you guys, and I'm going to go first. That way no one steals it because I really like this play. My Snyder Soldier play of the day. If the graphic would work, why is it not loading? There we go. Snyder Soldier play of the day. It's going to be Brandon Cooks on the Dallas Cowboys. He's my favorite receiver, so that's going to be my play of the day. Rubio, I don't know if I stole your play, but you have Deebo Samuel to tout up, so I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, that's a great point, Rubio.
Yeah, what you just did is fucked up. I'll say it. You stole my play of the day, and you knew exactly what you're doing. You wanted to go first. The host never goes first. The host never goes first for the play of the day, and you just came in and swooped it. That was fucked up beyond belief right there. I can't believe.
Yeah, settle down, Rubio. Okay, you can sit in timeout for a
My
second.
play of the day is to short Brandon Cooks.
It's to short Brandon Cooks. Why are you shorting Brandon Cooks?
Because you took him.
Oh, because I took him. That's what you got to do. You know, you go in the Discord chat, you find out who my plays are, and then you just go, okay, I'm going the opposite.
I'm going to go with the other guy. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I didn't do it. Honestly, I didn't do it intentionally, but like now I like the last file I ran. I love it, and it has like no Brandon Cooks, so I'm going to go with it.
Well, there you go. I mean, you got to go with what you like, so go with that.
Baby.
It's going to be me or you who wins it then, I guess, today. So we'll have to see. Rubio, who is your player of the day then? Who is your Snyder Soldier?
God, my Snyder Soldier. I mean, you kind of narrowed it down there. You know, got all the Brandon Cooks in the entire fucking world. You just had to take it. Steve-O Samuel.
We don't care about your Brandon Cooks rainmakers, okay? We're talking DFS, okay?
I'm talking DFS too. DFS too, but
sure.
Steve-O Samuel now because you took Brandon Cooks from me. I think Deebo crushes zone. I do like the fact that Deebo, you know, we've always seen it in the past, right? He gets utilized in the run game a little bit and stuff, but ultimately, I don't feel the urge of, you know, completely stacking with Purdy like I do with these other guys because there's a chance that Deebo might house one on the ground or through the air or whatever. I just think it's one of those games where, you know, Deebo gets his, you know, and it's been Ayuk all season. And they've been playing a lot of man coverages the past few weeks, but the table flips just today, and then it goes back to being an Ayuk team.
All right, there you go. Swoop says, host never goes first. Here's the thing, Swoop. I'm the captain now, so settle down or I'll ban you from the chat for life. How's that sound? I won't do that. But
tyranny is dangerous.
If you're looking for an actual like player, Charbonnet is the guy that I like.
There you go, Charbonnet for JBC. That is his play of the day. That's his. I gotta get the graphic up. Where is it? The Snyder Soldier play of the day. But that is gonna wrap it up for us on this show. Have a great Thanksgiving. Make sure to get some giblets on this day and have a great time with your family and enjoy watching the football games. Be sure, again, use that code giblets44, get you 44% off your first payment. So be sure to use that if you want to check out all the Run Pure content going on right now.
I thought we were going to lock. What happened?
No, we're not going to lock.
Mangone got cold feet, apparently, you know, an hour and 20 minutes.
He's got so many friends and family he's got to get to.
He's got so many microwave mac and cheese.
I gotta get out of here. Duh.
Yeah, I gotta get out of here to be able to hang out with all my friends and watch the football games. You know, set the lineups up and everything like that. But that'll wrap it up for us. For me, Mangone, Rubio Dimes, and JBC. We will see you guys later.